Hello, I am planning on starting to hand load and reload, and I'm just planning out my bench, and I thought I'd walk you through it and tell you what I'm going to do. You can see I've been collecting some various things I'll need. There's some Lapua 308, 5 boxes of 100, and I've been collecting brass for a while. I've got 45 ACP, 40 S&W, 9mm, some 38 special, and then as far as rifle brass goes, I've got a lot of 308 and 30-30, not so much, just a little bit of 30-30 and a little bit of 30-06. I have a tumbler, so I've been doing a little cleanup, and I'm starting to collect some of the supplies I'll need for hand loading. I've got a couple canisters of powder, some holders for during the reloading process. I've got a set of 308 dies. I've got a concentricity tool. I'll use that for the 308. And a few other odds and ends, so I'm just starting to collect it. I'll be getting more of it over the next month or two as I prepare to start loading. And I'm planning on starting out with just a single stage press, and then I'll get a progressive later on. And as you can see, I've got this spare room that I'm going to be using, and I've got some extra space along this wall. And what I've just done, so I've got it's hard to see on the wall, I've got an X there, and I've marked where all the studs are on this wall, and I've got 6 spots that I've marked. I'm planning on taking a sheet of 4x8 sheet of plywood and ripping it down the middle, so the bench will be 2 feet wide and 8 feet long. And the plan is to run a 2-foot piece of 2x4 from this line that I've marked along the wall. That's about 37 inches high off the floor. So I can stand while I reload, or I can get a tall bench if I want to sit. So the 2x4s, they'll be 2 feet long. I'll run them down the wall here and put 2 or 3 screws into each one. And then I'll have a 2x4 2 feet long also sitting on the top of that 2x4 coming out this way, and a 45-degree 2x4 attaching the two. So it should be nice and strong. And then the 2-foot by 8-foot sheet of plywood will sit on top of those. When I mount, and that'll be plenty strong, I think, for most things that I'll be doing on the bench. For mounting the press, I'm planning on taking 2 or 3 smaller pieces of 3/4 inch plywood and stacking them to make a thicker portion of the bench. And that's where I'll mount the press, because I've seen a lot of videos where the press isn't mounted very sturdily and it looks like it's about to fall off the bench, and I'm sure it doesn't help with precision or make it very enjoyable to use. So that's my plan, and that'll happen over the next week or two probably. I'll get that built. And then for storage, I can just throw stuff underneath the bench on the floor. And I'm planning on installing a set of shelves, just where you take the steel rail and screw it into a stud. I'll probably get 3 of those vertical rails, and then you get the steel shelf supports. And I'll probably get 2 or 3 shelves, maybe 4-foot shelves. I don't think they need to be huge, at least initially. I don't have too much stuff to store. So that's the plan. And as soon as I start cutting 2x4s and screwing things to the wall, I'll shoot some more video and share that with you. Okay, this is a couple days later, and besides organizing my ammo a little bit, I've, more importantly, gotten the initial framework built out for my loading bench. And I just put 3 3-inch screws into that vertical 2x4, and then glue and a couple screws there, and glue and a couple screws on that 45-degree 2x4. And it's pretty sturdy. and I've got one of those on every single stud. So there's 6 of them that'll span the 8-foot bench. Should be pretty sturdy, I think. And I'm planning on getting a 4x8 piece of plywood tomorrow and ripping it down the middle and adding on that bench top. I'll come back after I've got that done. So I'm done with my bench. The supports underneath there weren't all straight and level, so I had to do a fair amount of shimming to get the tabletop flat and level. It's 2 pieces of plywood, 1/2 inch, 1/3 inch glued together, and I've got some trim around the edges so that it's not quite so ugly on the perimeter. And I got a couple shelves mounted for supplies, and the bench with all those supports is really sturdy. I don't know if I'll need to add any thickness to mount the presses. I may, but it's really sturdy as it is, so I may be able to just mount them directly to this bench. So I've gotten most of my supplies, not everything, but quite a bit. My single stage press should arrive this next week. As far as a progressive, that'll come sometime down the road, but at least I can load some ammo with the single stage, and I'll plan on doing 308 and some different handgun rounds as well. So that's my reloading area. That's my bench.